How to replace the front brake pads and rotors in your Dodge Charger. I am Stephen Wimberley, and this is Working with Wimberley. The first step is to loosen the two 13mm bolts on the caliper. If you're taking out the bolt and it just spins, you need to use an 18mm wrench. Put it on the pin, and then you can take the bolt out without it spinning. So with the two bolts out, I'm going to use a flathead screwdriver and just pry off the caliper. Now I'm going to remove the brake pads. I'm going to use one of the old brake pads with the C-clamp. We're going to push the pistons back into the caliper. So with the pistons pushed back into the caliper, you're going to want to sit the caliper down on something. I'm going to sit it on this crate just so it's not hanging by the brake line. So the next step is to take a 15mm socket and breaker bar and break loose the two bolts on the caliper bracket, and then use the 15mm socket and ratchet to take them out the rest of the way, and then you can remove the caliper bracket.
To keep it open and keep it draining.
Alright, so once you get the two bolts out of the caliper bracket, you can take the bracket off, and then the brake rotor just comes right away. So take your new brake rotor, put it on, and I'm going to use two lug nuts to hold it in place while I put everything back together. Pull out the old clip, take the new one, and just snap it into position. Do the same thing on the other side. Now we're going to take the bracket, get it back in position, and put the two 15mm bolts back on the bracket.
Wait.
Thread the caliper bolts by hand first to make sure we don't cross thread. And I'm going to tighten them with the 15mm socket and ratchet. So install the new brake pad. Put the caliper into position. I'm going to install the two 13mm caliper bolts by hand. Alright, use a 13mm socket and ratchet to tighten the two caliper bolts. Make sure to pump the brakes before driving, and this job is done. If you found this video helpful, be sure to subscribe to the channel, give me a thumbs up, and leave a comment. God bless you all.